Hello, everyone. You know, before Selena became the Selena that we know today, as a child, she was touring Texas with her family, and alongside them, there was one man from San Antonio who has such incredible memories with her, and he's here right now with us. Ramon Hernandez, welcome to our studio, Ramon. It's so wonderful to have you. You have got treasures. Anytime somebody says, there's something new about Selena that you might have not heard before. It's like all the Selena fans were listening. I'm so excited that you're here.
I thank you, Sarah, for having me, and I'm excited to meet you.
So tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, you knew Selena as a child before anybody really got to see the Queen of Tejano that we know today.
I met Selena when she was 14. I saw her perform at Rosedale Park at a. They used to have a weekly function called Tejano Thursdays, put on by Delmiro Garcia Productions, and I would go to them every week to cover for the Express News. And she was the opening act one day, and I heard her voice, and I saw her personality, that killer smile, and the showmanship for a 14-year-old, and that blew me away.
And what were you at the time, a promoter?
No, I was writing for the Express News, San Antonio Express News. So I was covering different acts. I was covering different functions.
So you were a reporter.
I was a reporter,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
A contributing writer.
And then you saw her, and your first impression of her, even as she was just 14 years old, you still remember that.
Oh, yeah, sure. You couldn't forget it. I mean, you don't see talent like that. And the way she just oozed out warmth and she had this vibrant, vivacious personality. And it was infectious. When you saw her smile, it just lit up the room.
Yes, I mean, you could see it in all her videos.
Yeah.
Instantly. You can't help but just,
Instantly.
connect and just look at her. And you saw a lot of talent at the time come through. So when you have somebody like that that stands out, that's something.
At the time, Selena was performing as a 14-year-old, and for the next 5 years, I think I counted at least 70 young Tejanitas that were trying to be the next Laura Canales, they were trying to be, the next superstar. But out of those 70, here comes Selena, and, stood out. She and Shelly Laris.
Yeah, who ended up becoming really good friends with Selena
Very
as
good
well. And
friends,
you
yeah.
know both of them. You know Shelley very well as well, right? You were telling me you were like an uncle to them.
I felt like an uncle because I used to hang around with her father, Fred, all the time. We'd go out to eat, and I'd go to their home in Lark Street, and, I'd go back there. He'd be working the bus, and, her mother, Irene, also. And so...
So did you tour with them and promote them and write about them? Or what was your role exactly with Selena and her family in that 5 years?
After I saw her perform, I went up to Abraham, and I said, your daughter, I see something your daughter that I've never seen before. I'd like to help you out. Could I help you out with publicity? Could I help you out as a photographer? And we agreed to meet in Corpus Christi. So he came over to my mother's house, and he came in his van, and he had a whole bunch of cassettes of Selena, songs that have yet to be released. So he played those for me, and then we went out to the backyard. I had Abraham and Selena lay down on the grass, and those are the pictures you see in People magazine, different magazines that are out there on Selena, father and daughter. And you can see the connection they two had. There's a lot of artists that I saw come and go. Great voices, but they were pushed by what you might call stage mom or stage pop, And because the kid sang well doesn't mean that he wanted to be a star, that he wanted to be in front of the people. He was being pushed by the parents.
But what you saw in Selena,
case. Not in Selena's case.
She wanted
innate.
it.
That was God-given. It was natural. She loved what she was doing.
so she wanted to be on the stage.
She
wanted
was
to
born
perform.
to be on the stage. Yeah. 5 years going on the road with them. Either going to Dallas, either going to Houston. Abraham would pick me up on I-37, and I'd get on the bus in Old Bertha, and here we go.
So from what year to what year was that? What are we talking about? Time
I would
period.
say by this time, 86 to right, almost right away. Because I remember some of the first pictures I took were at La Bamba in Dallas. Then there's the High Hole Ballroom in Grand Prairie. There was Guys and Dolls in Fort Worth. She was all over Texas.
And so that was in the late 80s.
Right. And what I remember about the bus, it had no air conditioning. It had no heater. So when it was winter, we'd get on the bus, and Abraham would turn on the bus and wait for it to heat up, and everybody would walk around and kind of feel the floor for the warm spot, the warmth from the motor, and that's where they put their sleeping bags or their blankets.
Because the family at the time, were they struggling to make ends meet? I mean,
They were, I want to say, struggling to make ends meet. They had a nice house in the Barrio Molina at 709 Bloomington Street in Corpus. Um, it was just, you can only afford so much. I mean, he had a bus while other people didn't have a bus. It might be an old school bus, but nonetheless, they had a bus. They also had their own sound board. So they couldn't afford a sound man, so Abraham was a sound engineer.
wow.
So something goes wrong with the board, something goes wrong that's electrical. Abraham would take his ball cap, switch it around, not literally.
Yeah.
And he was now the electrician.
Yeah.
And working the lights, they had a light board, they had lights, their own lights.
He wore a lot of hats, as they say.
Yeah. And working the light board is her mother, Marcela, and Abe's first wife, Benji. And you can see it in some of the pictures that I took. So Selena gets off the bus. She goes in for the sound check. The mic doesn't work. Call a technician. There's no technicians. She had to troubleshoot the mic herself. Normally it was just a battery, and she'd take it and replace it. And I've got pictures of her mother holding her up because she was really ailing with the flu. And she's putting the battery in the microphone. And then I've got pictures of her mother and Abe's wife working the light board. And this happened one day when everybody was down with the flu. It was cold. Everybody was trying to keep warm. So in the bus, you could see them pacing back and forth with a coat on because there was no green room in the club. So they had to wait on the bus, waiting for a signal to come into the building. So success did not happen overnight for Selena. They paid their dues. Like
She
I
worked
said,
hard. She was a hard worker.
the whole family, it was a family affair. They all worked hard. They all worked together in unity. I mean, it was a very supportive family of each other, very united.
So a big part of Selena's success was her family.
Oh, yes.
And to this day, I mean, they carry on her name. I know a lot of people, there's always some controversy sometimes. You got to know the family really well as well. How do you feel about everything?
I've heard the criticism that you mentioned, and a lot of people might think her father was trying to commercialize or capitalize on his daughter's fame. If he had not done it, somebody else would have done it. It would have been the private items, the bootlegs, and he just had to keep it under control. He just couldn't let everybody just make socks out of her and aprons and, everything that you can think of in the world, the candles. So he did the right thing. It wasn't to advance themselves monetary wise.
And so in that 5 years, you saw a 14-year-old Selena and then a 19-year-old Selena. And really, that was the start of her fame at 19 years old. What was that transformation like as you toured with them for that time period?
Well, I remember the first photo session we did. It was at a studio that they would rent called the F-Stop on Bandera and 410. And we'd go there and do our professional photo session. There was a cushion that I told her, okay, just put your elbows there. And without saying a word, she started going like this. She started going like this. She started going like this. And then she got impatient. I mean, she was so full of life, so full of energy, she just couldn't keep still. So she takes the cushion and then she starts playing peekaboo. Okay, here we go.
And that's for the pictures.
And then she holds it up and then she throws it at me. And then she finds a feather and she starts playing it. So I got the whole series of pictures. What I did was not glamour photography. What I did was like a photojournalist in the war, during the war, I documented what was going on. The pictures tell the story.
And Selena fans can thank you because you have things that I know everybody wants to hear. You walked in here with treasure in your hand and you started to show me, and I was like, wait, don't show me just
Okay,
yet.
okay.
Let's hold off. I want to see. Okay, I'm ready now. I want to see what you have.
This is 2 weeks after I met her. Look at her hair.
Wow.
That's a pudgy me. Selena, my wife, Suzette, Abby, Ricky Velez, and I forget his name right now.
Look at that.
That's at
Selena
Roseville
hair.
Park.
This is, I guess, when she chopped off her hair.
That's it.
As Shelley
That was her
saying.
natural
Wow.
hair.
What year was this?
1985.
1985, and you had just met her. Okay.
Right. This is 1986. Her eyes just sparkled, It was like having spotlight on her.
Her eyes and her
Even in the
smile.
shade. Right, the killer smile.
Yeah.
I mean, she just loved to, she loved posing for
Well,
pictures.
and that's the thing, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul,
Right.
and truly you can see it in her. And I think that's what draws people to her.
That's right.
Is you meet her and you just instantly have that feeling that you want to talk to her more. You want to get to know who this person is.
I feel privileged because I have a 70-inch computer screen, so when you see it blown up, the first thing that grabs your attention is the eyes, and you look into them, and you can feel the emotions.
How does it feel to be looking at your work, the stuff that you did for Selena?
Privileged, honored. I mean, like a proud uncle.
When was the last time you spoke to her before her murder?
After she made it and became a national, then international artist, I went on to promote other people like Emilio, Ram Herrera, Gary Hobbs, La Mafia Mas. So I didn't see her that often, but we'd get together like at the Billboard Awards or Premio Nuestro Awards. And one thing that stays with me is that I never learned how to dance. My mother raised me very strict. Dancing's a thing of the devil. But she would try to encourage me by every time we're backstage, she'd hit me with her butt, my butt. I've got pictures of that. Give me a little bump.
She got you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Kind of, sort of. But I never learned how to dance.
Yeah.
But we went to Las Vegas one time for the Premio Nuestro. And I said, Selena, let's pretend we're dancing. And I gave Abraham the camera. So you see us like dancing, but we weren't really dancing. And after Abraham gave me the camera back, then he started dancing with Selena. You should have seen Abraham and Selena. They had some moves. I took all the negatives, all the color slides, or as we call them, transparencies, and I gave them to Abraham. I said, this is to let you know I don't want to capitalize on Selena's death. I don't want to make money. I feel like, I just couldn't do it. So he uses my pictures and put Q Productions on there. But
Yeah.
I kind of regret it now. But before I handed everything to him, I made prints of everything.
Yeah. I mean, she was definitely quite the fashionista. To this day, people follow in her footsteps.
After
Try
that
to-
stage, she started tinkering with hats. For a whole year, she would just wear hats, all kinds of hats. And I've got those pictures too where she's trying them on, or Marcela's helping her with a hat.
I love her jacket here. What a nice outfit.
And then after the hat period, she went into making her hair longer and just different styles. And all of a sudden, she stopped smiling with the camera. She wanted to look sultry. She wanted to look more grown up. So you have this pretty young girl with a nice, sexy, sultry look, But that was all her. She did not need help in hiring somebody to create her image, a PR agency or whatever.
She did her own.
She created her own image, from the hair to the wardrobe, everything. It was all her ideas. And the wardrobe, the way she dressed, what did that translate to in the future? Her boutique.
Yeah. Her boutique, yeah. And Shelley was telling me just the cutest stories how as kids, she's like, Selena used to make me her mannequin and she would put little jackets on me and pin them. And she said she'd just draw these amazing sketches. And she's like, I love looking at them because she always had that natural instinct, for a fashion designer. So, and that was another thing that I think set her apart.
Right.
People, you see her style overall, and to this day, people try to imitate it.
You couldn't find in a star rack. I mean, she sold on the sequence and for her
Yeah.
and the whole band.
So I guess this is when she was beginning. This is the evolution of Selena, beginning to
was
grow up a little bit, wanting to show the world she's not that little girl anymore. She's
A more
now
classy look. And one thing that we used to do after every photo session for an album cover, or regardless, any photo session, we would always take a picture together. So the jacket that AB's wearing here, he took it off and says, "Okay, use this one, put this on for our together picture." And that's us.
Oh,
going
so now
around.
you're wearing the jacket
Yeah,
that
uh-huh.
AB wore.
And you can tell we're having fun.
So
No.
tell me this, because I know when I look at pictures,
Mm-hmm.
they take me back to the day as if I was just there yesterday. I could feel everything I'm looking at. I could just see it like I was there. What do you see when you see this? That day, where were you guys and what did it feel like? What was going on, the story behind this?
We were at the F stop, and we were just having fun. Every photo session was not serious, not with them. I mean, you didn't have to give them direction. You just put them in front of the camera, and they just like natural born models,
And what about this one here? I'm going to go back to this because this is just such a unique look for Selena.
She drove up in her red car, and I saw her hairstyle, and I don't know if I can get used to this.
You
Made
liked
every-
her with her longer hair more?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
but she knew what she was doing.
Did you tell her that?
No.
You're like, I wouldn't dare.
No. Anyway, I let her take the direction. I was just a messenger to my camera. That's all. It was not work. It was just pure fun, sheer elation. Everything about her was happy-go-lucky.
Did you guys ever have deep conversations and really talk about each other's lives and families? And
Well, on the bus, she and Suzette would always talk about, okay, we're going to the mall or we're going to a movie, and she was kind of boy crazy. And because Abraham was so strict, they had to keep everything hush hush. So I'm kind of made privy on, okay, we're going to we're going to this movie at the mall, and Suzette, don't say anything. We're going together, but once we're there, I'm going to go to the movie with this guy, and
so they would sneak out behind
Yeah.
Abraham's back. She was just like any other girl. That's
One
What a lot
thing
of
I
girls-
regret, she would write me notes on her little personal notepad,
Mm-hmm.
which said Selena Quintanilla. And I always read them and wad them up and throw them. I regret that because that was autographs.
yeah.
I told Selena, you know what? Give me a blank one. And that's what I have, a blank notepad when I had all those personal notes.
Yeah.
So
That's okay. You still have a lot of beautiful memories.
this is
So-
when she won her first Tejano Music Award. I did 7 of her album covers. That's one of them.
Female Vocalist of the Year. And the winner is Selena and Los Tinos.
I also did the graphics. Back then, we didn't have Photoshop. Back then, we didn't have laptops and computers. So all that we had to do with rub-on letterings. You went to a place like Hazel's downtown, and you bought the lettering, and you just rubbed it on the paper, and everything was by hand.
So this was all your work.
Yeah.
Were you the photographer for all her album covers?
Only 7, the first 7. Once she signed with MEMI, they went with a professional photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never was a glamour pictures type, glamour photos.
I don't know. These are really good pictures. These look pretty
That's,
glamorous to me.
that's on the spot.
Like glamour shots. Remember
Yeah.
those? Glamour shots.
And
Yeah.
she made it glamour shots. She was glamorous.
I love that. She made it. What a
And the
nice
back
way
is
of
one of
putting
the
it.
publicity pictures. Another thing
took
about
that.
that photo session, I told Abraham, because they had like a little lobby with a Coke machine, go get me a can of Coke. So he brings it to me thinking I'm thirsty, and I hand it to Selena. And I say, here, pretend you're drinking Coke and really enjoying the heck out of it. And he says, what's this about? I said, have you ever thought of having her as a spokesperson for a product? At the time, everybody had a sponsor, like a Lone Star, a Pearl, a Schultz, Schlitz, Bud Light. And the sponsor would make posters of you holding their product, in this case, a beer.
Mm-hmm.
And no beverage had gotten into the Tejano market. So I explained to, first reaction from Abraham said, no, 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 my daughter's, I'm not going to have her preaching beer. I said, no, Abraham, think beverages. Think Pepsi Cola, think Coca Cola, Mountain Dew, whatever. So he got the picture, and then, so how do we do this? I said, well, you got to write a proposal and submit it to the advertising agency. Well, I've never done that before. I'll do it for you. So I wrote out the proposal, and he signed it. We sent it into Sosa and Associates, and they sent Bonnie Garcia to check her out and doing a performance, and they were sold on her. Long story short, she got a contract. So I felt good about that. Somebody asked me, when was the last time you saw Selena? When I was in California going up the coast, I got to a radio station, and Selena and Los Dinos were on the air in the DJ booth doing an interview. So I'd wave to them and I'd go out. I get to the next station, I'd get, let's say, a bite to eat. I'd go to the next town, and she's coming out, and I'm going in. And we started doing that, San Diego, L.A., Oxnard, Ventura, on up the coast of California. And finally, I took one picture of her. I said, let me take a picture of you. Because she had this little hat and everything.
And do you remember what you guys said? What was your conversation?
We were laughing because we thought it was funny. Are you following me? No. Are you stalking me? No. So it was casual banter, you know.
Yeah.
Always in a joking mood.
So that's the kind of relationship you guys had.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Here you have thousands of people going out to see her in concert and trying to get close to her. And I casually bump into her over and over. So no big deal, you know. And that was the last time I photographed her and the last time I saw her.
what year was
I
that?
never do that. 1994. So,
You're getting emotional. It's still hard to talk about it.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
It never gets easier when you lose someone you love.
Yeah.
When you heard that she was shot and killed, what went through your mind that day?
One thing about life is you don't realize the great moments in your life. You take it for granted. It's not till years after, or you know, long after that you appreciate it, or it hits you, you know, because you're just so busy with what you're doing.
Did you have any regrets, maybe not speaking to her a little bit more after she was taken away so soon? Did that
No,
ever go through your mind?
She belonged to the people. I mean, I was just happy to be a part of her life. I know after she got married, about 2 years, we went to Las Vegas, and that's when I took a picture of her and Chris. And I told Chris, I want to get a picture of you, Selena, but I want to duplicate the moment that you crossed the threshold with her. And he couldn't pick her up. So Selena stood like on top of the sofa. And I told Chris, okay, stretch out your arms, turn around. Selena, you jumped in his arms. She did. And he turns quickly around, and I'm over there, and I shoot the picture, and that's the picture you see him holding up Selena. Then he puts her down.
So was she then your first official record promoter job? Because before that, you said you were a reporter for San Antonio Express News. That was your first, promoter job?
I was doing so many things. And when you're doing it because you believe in a person,
Mm-hmm.
because I believed in her talent, I was not an employee. The record company didn't pay me. Abraham, I was not on his payroll. I was not his employee for Q Productions. Everything I did pro bono, let's say. And I didn't realize that I
So you
was
didn't
being a
get paid for
promoter,
any of
that I
it?
was being a publicist.
You didn't get paid for any of it. You just did it because you saw her and you believed in her that day in the park, and
That's
you
correct.
felt like she was going to be something.
And like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, that after she was assassinated, I just took all my work and gave it to Abraham.
What do you think it is that draws people to her so much?
The sparkling eyes, the killer smile. Oh, I know what it is. She has this gift that when she meets you, she might not remember your name, but she remembers your face. And I was looking at videos of her. She could be in the middle of an interview, and if you walked in and she spotted you, without missing the beat, she'd go, or like that, On stage, she would do the same thing. Here's a club full of people, and I remember because you walk in and you're behind the people standing before the stage, and she'll spot you, and her eyes light up, and she'll go, "Hey, check out some of the videos. You'll see that."
She had the ability of making people feel special.
Yeah, that's it. She connected.
Do you still talk to the family?
Oh, sure. I don't go to Corpus often, but I always stop by and see Abraham, and he normally takes me out to eat. Or the last time we went to this little seafood restaurant, and it was during COVID, and that was not the last time, but it was during COVID, and we had to order at the drive-through window and wait outside for the people to bring the order out. But we always get together. Or it cracks me up when he'll pick me up in a small little, standard car, not even a sedan. And I look, come on, Abraham, you can afford a Mercedes. But he's very down to earth.
Yeah. What do you think she did for Tejano music? What kind of impact do you think she has on Tejano music today?
She internationalized it. Again, it was the talent. How many people can boast of having their image on a stamp, on the U.S. postal stamp? They had a set of stamps: Selena, Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, Carlos Gardel, and Carmen Miranda, a set of 5 stamps. I can tell you she's won hundreds of awards. 2 Grammys, Billboard Awards, Premio Nuestro Awards, SCAP Awards. How many Tejano female artists or Tejano entertainers, no matter who they are, no matter what their gender is or how famous they are, have 3 statues? Selena has a statue in Corpus, of course, one in San Antonio, and one in Mexico, in Monterrey. How many have a wax figure at the Hollywood Wax Museum? How many people have murals just scattered all over the country?
Her music is unique. Her music connects with people.
Right. I mean, you might hear a Selena song being sung by Paulina Rubio or Thalia or Ana Gabriel or any of a dozen internationally known artists. They're doing Selena.
Now, have you watched the movie with Jennifer Lopez, and have you watched the Netflix series?
It's awkward.
No? But,
No,
you know
no,
what?
no. I saw the movie,
Uh-huh.
and I
What
kind
did
of.
you think? I'm curious.
I had mixed feelings because they always skip the era or the time that she was paying the dues. It always begin. Well, there's some scenes when they were kids and they're riding the car and all that's true. But they don't show when she was paying her dues. That's all.
So you felt like the Selena you knew worked really hard. And that's a side that people really haven't been exposed to very much. We just see the end result of her being famous, but we don't see all the years of hard work
Right.
that she put in. I mean, you're talking about, what, hours a day of constant rehearsals and performing?
Yeah.
And that's what you saw.
It's kind of overlooked, omitted, or avoided. I don't know if it's purposely or who has to say so on that, the producer, the director, somebody, or the scriptwriter. I just wish that the people could see that part of her.
That's what you remember her as, the hard worker.
The hard work. Well, the hard work. Yeah. I mean, when and Abraham doesn't like me to say it. I used to write. Okay, they stopped at Motel 6, so they went to Jack in the Box for the taquitos. No, no, don't write about that. Don't put that in the article.
So
Maybe that's why.
the stuff that you documented, you have the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
What about the written stuff? Where is that? Where can people read about the handwritten documents, from the days that you were working with them? Is that somewhere?
Those are all archived in my personal archives, which I hope to turn to a museum one day. Right now, I'm a commissioner with the Texas Music Hall of Fame, and we're lobbying at the state capitol for a building, bricks and mortar structure. And once that happens, of course, the ultimate Selena Museum is already there
Yeah.
in Corpus
In Corpus,
Christi. You
yeah.
can't get any better than that. But we're trying to bring recognition to everybody in the industry. One thing I found out several years ago, I was always writing about the lead vocalist, about the front man, Emilio Navaja or Ram. What about the bass player? What about the guitar player? What about the accordion player, the keyboard player, the drummer? They're always overlooked. And in the books that I'm writing, I am putting together an encyclopedia, which I call Tejanopedia. And I already wrote a book on Little Joe, on Renee and Renee. And my next one's going to be on Sonny Osuna. I want to rectify that because that documentation's not there. It's like, again, taking things for granted. I myself, I was adopted at birth, and I didn't know who my real parents was till I was in my late 30s, almost 40. I found them, and I'm always interested about where do I derive from my ancestry. So I've been to Mexico numerous times trying to find my roots, and everybody has roots, and I'll cover that. Not the ancestry part in the book, but the roots in music, their musical roots.
At 85 years old, you're not really fully retired yet, are you?
I'll be 85.
It sounds like
I'll be 85. I'm still 84.
84. You told me 85. That's where I got that from. Okay, we're close.
Okay.
That's amazing that you're still doing so much. I love sitting and talking to you and just seeing the pictures. You have videos too, you said, right?
The best videos that were shot of Selena, that's a good question, were by Waldo Cedillo. He had a program on Univision TV during the 80s, and he's got a lot of interviews.
Do you have any of yours, though?
No, the only video you can see of me on YouTube is Sofia Vergara came to my apartment and interviewed me in regard to Selena.
What do you want everyone to know about Selena?
That she was a beautiful human being. She was an angel. That nobody will ever top her.
Ramon Hernandez, an incredible interview and all these amazing memories. Thank you very much for sharing
Thank
them
you,
with
Sarah.
us. From
Appreciate
a Selena fan to another. Thank you, Ramon.